Okay, we are back from break. It is 1:33 p.m. and we are picking up with the packet of policy level, a new FTE request. And so yesterday we left off on page 8. Nicole, passing it to you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. So on page 8, line 33 is where we are.
What do we do, 32?
32, we decided to approve pending PST
Oh, right.
sales
Okay,
tax.
33, got it.
So line 33 here is to add 2 animal protection deputies to the sheriff's law enforcement for $484,000 in the first year, and then $236,000 in the second year.
I suppose that's because of a vehicle purchase or two of them.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
one-time purchases.
And it's not it's fancy animal holding vehicles, not regular police
No,
car.
that's the cadet one.
It is, you say.
Oh,
Yeah.
for, which one are we on?
We're
I
on
thought you were-
33,
Are
right?
you asking about cadets?
33, yeah.
No, I thought we already have said the cadets
Okay,
if things
I thought
pass.
that's what you were asking about. I was
This
like, wait,
one.
no, it's,
This one here.
sorry.
We wanna start over.
Yes, line 33 includes one-time equipment for bringing on the 2 deputies.
And do we want to say on this one, depending on if it passes or not?
For animal protection deputies?
Yeah.
Unless we want
I
to
don't
go.
wanna say that. I wanna say no.
You want to just say no?
I'm not there with moving animal services to the sheriff's
Okay.
office.
Okay. Good enough.
So here's my thoughts on this. And then just hearing the presentation from JASCOM this morning is that a big county issue that we're facing is the livestock problems, and those regardless are still hitting the sheriff's office and he's having to address those calls. And so, you know, I'm not sure, like, you know, how we can address that, like, and.
Can I say something on
Yeah,
that?
go ahead.
Just, I'll throw in a little bit of history on that.
Yeah.
In the past, we were able to depend on volunteers that were horsey people, or however you want to refer to them. I mean, they had horse trailers and different things. Now, we might have had to buy a few bags of feed or, you know, something like that, depending on what it was. And they would move them to a volunteer location and they put them up and they were out there brushing them, and God, the animals really, they made out like a fat rat on the whole thing, you know, because they were treated well by people that loved them. And there wasn't any capital outlay to speak of other than a couple bucks here and there for feed maybe. And a lot of that, they did fundraisers and things to pay for it. I'm hearing more and more that that's no longer feasible. I mean, even if we get into compensation of the different committees we have and different things, I mean, it just doesn't seem like that volunteerism is maybe there as much. Now, could that be regenerated and got going again? I mean, it's kind of like what we talked about on the investigators. I mean, there's more effective ways, I think, to do it. We seem to be drifting apart on efficiencies and whatnot. So I don't know what it would take. I certainly don't have time to go out and, but I used to go to the events to raise money and different things like that and help out. So I don't know. Do we have to purchase everything, or are there people out there that are willing to help? And can we try to foster those relationships somehow?
Yeah.
Pay them a stipend or something to participate, I don't know. But something.
Yeah. You know, I think, I mean, for me, if there was support of going this way, then I would want to have those conversations with JASCOM. I'm still hearing a lot of complaints in regards, and not just from the sheriff's office, but from community members out in the county about,
Me too.
and, you know.
Me too. I know, I have too.
You know, it's just, we are investing a lot of money into this, and, you know, I know that will be, possibly getting some emails tomorrow and Friday in regards to this, because it's gotten to the point where I'm like, please just email the county commissioner's email in regards to this, if this is something that you want, but, because I've been hearing about this just nonstop. I believe the sheriff made a post on kind of this proposal, and I've heard support for this proposal. I've heard a lot of community frustration in terms of the services that JASCOM is offering, and
I was trying today's meeting to put those concerns into categories, just telling me there's concerns, and I'm not criticizing you, because we hear that from the community, but it doesn't really help me. What is the problem? They won't come to my cows on another, okay, well, that's a livestock issue, we understand that now. And so maybe we come up with a program to reimburse community volunteers, we develop a program to try to get some support from the community on livestock. Is it that, there wasn't the overnight response? Well, JASCOM apparently fixed that in June, at least as to pet calls, and maybe that's gonna be better, I don't know. Is it, what is it exactly, and what is the sheriff gonna do, the investment that we'd have to make for him to have horse trailers and corral space
I'm
and.
not gonna do that. I think we could do it with volunteers. I really do believe we could do it with volunteers, given him the direction to do that.
Yeah, is the proposal made plugging the gaps that we have based on what we heard this morning? It feels like there'd be overlap there, and we would be paying for two different things, the same thing, and we'd still have gaps.
I think one of the things that I've heard is, since JASCOM has, just because of the law change, right, there hasn't been that kind of follow-up. Before, there was more of the piece of when there were animal cruelty cases or anything similar to that, right? It was, animal services was very involved in that whole process from beginning to end. And now they're really, I've heard a lot from community members that that's kind of been stepped away from, and, there's not that connection with the community groups who are really focused on animal cruelty cases, and they're keeping a track, and they're advocates for that. And so that's who I'm hearing a lot of frustration from, and that's kind of the piece where I'm seeing here that might be a gap that can be covered, is that specific for animal cruelty cases that follow up, that follow through, and maybe that tie in with the community. And then, of course, the livestock issue, and not to get into,
This is like a $750,000 ask. You're willing to
It's a-
put,
Yeah.
you're willing to put that kind of investment into that possibility this year?
well, no, not this, it's, that I know we're facing.
I mean, I'm just.
That's why I
That's what I'm
was
saying,
like,
I'm not there,
either-
I'm not closing the door on these discussions, but we got a million budget items to go through. This is a no-go for me now, so I'd like to just move on.
Okay.
So thumbs, I got one thumb down,
It's a maybe for.
maybe. And
Well,
want more
I'm
discussion.
gonna go along with Ty on this as far as, I like what Carolina is proposing, but to me, it only is possible if the law enforcement thing passed, and then only if we withdrew the money from what we give animal control now, the 500,000 that we upped it, would come back and cover this.
we upped
So-
it by 250,000.
When,
680 to 1.06 million.
680, and how much did we pay in 21?
No, it's not what we paid, it's what we budgeted for,
That's what
because
we
that's what the
budgeted for.
full account, that's the
The budget
ongoing.
this year with increases was 1,024,000. And they're gonna bill us less than that, and they're gonna bill us less next year.
So the budget this year is 1,024,000. Last year, we actually spent 936,000.
But that's because they were understaffed and rebated us. I wanna know, the
Right.
future projected saving would be around
Right.
350 to 400,000.
So quite frankly.
At the most.
She's saying in 2024, that the amount that they're going to bill us is 942,000. We've got, 1,024,000 in the carry forward level.
Yes.
We could reduce almost $100,000 and not reduce a payment to JASCOM in this budget.
You definitely wanna do that, it sounds like.
Yeah.
That we.
Okay.
And if you're
I was
willing to
like, I
look
wanna
at
do that
fees,
anyways.
if you're willing to talk about raising the fees, we could bring that amount down even more.
For licensing,
Mhm.
that's not big money, but I think it makes sense, but I went through that when I was on the board and it's maybe 15 or 20 grand
Right,
that you could
20
increase.
to 30,000 more.
But I'm interested in the 100,000, correcting that. I mean,
Absolutely, let's take that.
You need everything we can get, yeah.
But I mean, your point is valid that for this year, it would be about 250,000 savings maybe.
Right,
And that's at the upper end. I mean, the problem is the complexity of it, because Sarah's basically saying we'd have to go back, we'd have to redo what was done in 2003 or something else. But if we redid what was done in 2003, it might not come out to be the same savings.
that's exactly right.
Because we were willing to forego the type of call that was their most frequent call. Now that's no longer their most frequent call, so if we're not willing to forego something else in exchange, we may end up with less savings.
That's exactly
The
right.
most frequent was barking dog back then,
Back
right?
then, yeah.
Yeah,
But that's during the virus thing, everybody was staying
This was
home.
back in 2002.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
2006.
Yeah,
But now she said it's stray dogs and
Stray
Strays.
dogs and bites.
and bites, which we may not wanna forego bite service. Stray dog, we already did forego that. So let's just say it's 250 and growing maybe to 350 in the next couple of years, but that's the savings we're looking at out of pulling back the ILA plus all.
Right, but again, you could pull out 100,000 right now in each of the next 2 years
Right.
without cutting the services that JASCOM provides. And as you heard, she has just put certain things into place, so it could improve. And it also sounds like, with all due respect, the sheriff could do a few things that would lighten the load
Maybe the
on his staff.
citation thing, maybe the quarterly meetings. Somebody's not communicating, it doesn't sound like on the quarterly meetings, but. Yeah, well,
So-
I mean, we can't do it now because we don't have any money now for sure.
Right.
So
All right.
we can always come back and fix it later if
So
if
this
things
is,
get better.
two
No.
no's and a maybe,
Yeah, I'm too, yeah, that's kind of where I'm
and,
at. For right now.
3 yeses for taking down the budget for
100,000, yeah.
JASCOM.
To 943.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's lines 33 through 35.
Well, commissioners, we just got $100,000.
It was worth the meeting just for that. I would like to hear what the sheriff has to say, because he heard the presentation. And I wanna see how that all jives, how it all fits together. Because we're ultimately looking for a solution to the problem, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
What can we do that with, okay.
Okay, so line 36 now. This is to add a bureau staff assistant to the sheriff's office for $100,000 about. Supposed to assist in recruitment and implementation, support of the community advisory board membership.
I don't see we have any money for anything,
No,
I mean, it just ain't here,
said
No.
no for me.
it's lottery.
That is,
On the lottery fund.
Depends
0
on the
to 3
lottery.
for a no.
All right, so now we're on line 38. This is to add one legal assistant to the sheriff's office for a little under $100,000.
That's an ad though, right?
That's an
It's
ad.
not the baseline, so I still don't see any money.
3 no's, 0 to 3 for a no.
And
Okay, this is to add one financial, we're on line 40. Add one financial operations assistant to address resource needs related to the new financial system.
but all these can come about if it passes.
Well, he's got requests in for his phase an approach for that too. I don't wanna eat too much up, kind of.
Right, but this is the financial position that was his.
Oh, that's his number one,
No,
yeah.
this isn't
Well,
it.
oh, this is another one.
This is
Oh,
when the ERP
never mind.
passes the additional work they
Mhm,
are
it's
anticipating.
Anticipating that there might
This
be
is
more work.
from the new tax?
No, it's out of general fund.
This is from the additional work they're anticipating
When Oracle goes live with,
oh, from Oracle.
Yeah.
Just say no to requests for additional staff due to Oracle.
They're anticipating what the
I'm
whisperings
saying
of
no
what
to
the
This
system
one
is doing.
and,
Do any-
and
Unison
all the
TC.
rest. Yeah. So,
Okay.
thumbs down.
3 thumbs down. Okay, so, 42, line 42 here is phase 1 for the public safety sales tax. And then line 45 is phase 2, and line 48 is phase 3. The reason why I'm grouping them that way is because we heard from the sheriff's office on a new proposed phasing. This was a placeholder, so these numbers are not necessarily accurate right now as to what they're proposing. So I would recommend that we pull up that chart that we got from them when they came and saw us, and then look at that as a phasing. There was one phasing done without the infrastructure, and then one phasing done with infrastructure.
But how do you
Which
do the
one do
job
they want?
without the infrastructure?
Yeah.
Which one do they want?
Yeah, which one do they want us to adopt?
They presented the one without the infrastructure, and then later, they just sent us information on the one with it, right?
right, Heidi's tippity-typing right now, so.
Okay.
we'll wait to see.
We're getting ahead of her.
I'm expecting a response from Heidi in just a
And in
moment.
the meantime, I'll try to find it to pull it up, if you guys need to see it.
What are you,
The phasing approach, do you wanna see that again? Or is it just a thumbs up or thumbs down to either one of them?
Well, I mean, we need the infrastructure. He's been,
he's been very vocal about the infrastructure, the need for the infrastructure.
and
What is the, I mean, what we didn't see was then, like, for infrastructure inclusion, what would be spent the first year, second year?
Could you bring that phased-in plan up? Did she send that
We
to you?
didn't get that one.
The one with the bond?
Yeah, I think after the fact, she has a one pager, so let's find that and share that.
My recommendation would to be, go with the phased-in approach with the infrastructure. Because none of the buildings that we've been considering to house the sheriff
Just wanted to
has
see if
enough
it's your
room for
on the Zoom.
30 more FTEs. And it'll take a few years to get the new building ready. And by the one that you had looked at is under contract and their realtor won't show it
Yeah,
to us.
it should be incoming.
Really?
So it looks like that's went away. That's not available
It's
anymore.
not available. Our realtor talked to their realtor who said it's under contract.
Heidi, did you hear that?
She's, okay, so she said yes. She also asked us to please be aware that the 10-year, the phase-in with the infrastructure is not going to be right because you've made decisions to push items from general fund into the to the public safety sales tax. So it's not gonna be this, again,
It won't be perfect.
it won't be perfect, but she wants to make sure that you guys are aware of that.
Thank you.
Okay, I have it, I'm going to share it now.
How many items have we pushed into we've pushed 3?
3.
The financial position, the cadets,
We pushed asks, we didn't push positions or.
Oh, yeah, did you ask?
The financial operations, the evidence tech, and the cadets.
the evidence tech is
So
in
it's
there.
a total of 4 FTEs that we would shift from general fund over to the public safety sales tax.
You wouldn't, I take issue with that phrasing. If
They're newer
we deny the funding for them unless the public safety.
Right.
process doesn't
Yes.
fit within there.
Yes.
Yeah, and the cadets is the plan before the plan, right, and maybe the cadets will grow into positions in the future. I
That'd be up
mean,
to the sheriff, in my opinion, if he wants to do if he doesn't wanna do the cadets, that's his discretion.
That's his, yeah, I was just, the reason I brought that up, I was like, will it help cover a gap while you have all these positions up and kind of help offload some of that work? But if it's not something that he sees fits into this model, then that's fine with me.
So where am I seeing bond payments, or what is it that's different than what I saw before?
Yeah, I'm looking at this too, and I'm trying to see where, so I see the projected revenues are the same, fund balance, expenses. So second quarter, June. The payments are in here because you have $600,000 in June for the interest and then the 1.1 in December.
But did we get a financial plan?
Yeah, we
with
have
the
another one
bond
too, I
payments?
can share, that may be a little bit more explicit to see.
I remember Heidi said something about it, it was 1.1 million principal and 600 something
That's
thousand
right.
interest or something, but I don't remember exactly.
Here you go.
There you go.
Move this up a little bit. So here's your debt payments in '24.
Same as the auditor, 20 million, 10 years, is that,
The auditor is 10 million, 6% over 10 years.
what's this over?
20 million, 6% over 20 years.
Same payment.
The
basically.
auditor is 1.4, this is 1.7.
I mixed up the decimal points.
And this is to fund,
So let's see if we have notes down here, there's assumptions down here.
This would fund, the proposal here funds the phase-in plan that Nicole just showed you.
It says it
So,
phases in 29 commission staff, 22 deputies, 3 sergeants, and 4 detectives in the biennium. It would phase in 2 civilian staff, 1 legal assistant, and 1 financial operations assistant. And then that would be what you would be approving today within the
yeah,
biennium.
there's the staffing that he had proposed,
Right.
plus the new building.
so is it a new building from scratch, or is it
No,
upgrades to
it-
the building they're in?
20 million assumes that we would purchase an existing building and do tenant improvements. And it is a very rough number,
Right.
just to get something in place.
But the building in question that we'd thought about is no longer available,
That's true.
Yeah.
That, according to the realtors.
so.
I didn't know anything about it, so,
I,
so it could be
I,
less, could be more. 20 million that's needed.
I have no idea if 20 billion would be enough or not. I don't know. We can certainly ask our realtor, Evan, to start looking at the market, working with the sheriff, figuring out what he needs and looking at the market on November 8th.
The main reason I'm asking this question is because I'm trying to figure out what do we, like, this is all stuff for the future. Like, what do we need to pass this budget? Like, what decision do I have to make by this week in order to say that I'm authorizing them to do what next year or in the
Right.
biennium related to infrastructure?
Right.
I mean, we're giving them $20 million bond authority, or what is it that we have to authorize
You would,
Could we do a budget amendment next year, right? Let's say,
once we know what's going on?
once we know what's going on, maybe like something, I don't know, the money doesn't get in till June, doesn't it?
that's right. The
Right.
cash won't start coming in until June and then
Just
it's gonna be
authorize their
monthly.
first plan without the infrastructure, understanding that as soon as they know what's going on, we amend it? Or do we have to do something about the infrastructure now?
You can certainly, so what we're trying to avoid is the need to scramble to create positions in the new year if this should pass, and preserve our ability to put a budget book out to the public. If
So can we
we're
grant,
also, so just, I'm sorry. We're also trying to structure this in a way where if the, ballot measure does not pass on November 7th, that it's easy for the budget team to just strip out that piece and still get a book out on time. So we're trying to be very clear about what you include in the general fund that's a go, no matter what, and what we would put in for the public safety tax if it should pass.
And this is if it passes right here.
That's right.
And that's the simplest thing to do right here,
And that's what
right?
we're recommending,
pull it
is
out.
that you
Yeah.
authorize this in the event the tax should pass, and if it doesn't, we just strip it out.
Well,
This, though, when you say we authorized this,
This plan,
this is 10 years, but we only need to set a 2-year
you
budget.
need to, but the
So what is
first 2
it that they
years are there.
propose to spend on infrastructure in the first 2 years?
That's
1 point-
right, because it takes time to issue a bond.
Yeah,
If you don't give us authority to pursue a bond until the first budget amendment, which is usually in May or June, then it'd be 25 before we can get a bond out, because it takes time to do the whole bond issuing process.
I'll go with this plan.
So we're just recommending that this is a plan. If it needs to, if the thing doesn't pass, this completely comes out and everything else you've approved stands. It means that the sheriff would, what you have, authorized, if the tax passes, as far as the fiscal staff, the cadets, and the tech,
Technician.
we'd work with Heidi to make sure that we get the right positions authorized, if it should pass. And if it doesn't, they would not get those positions, the way things stand right now. So that's the path that we're asking you to, are you comfortable with, and would you say yes to that?
but it's different than what's on these sheets.
Yes, because when the time when they had to put in their change request and we knew their revenue, that was a placeholder. So they have
Yeah.
updated their financial plan to match where we think the revenues may be and when they'll come in. And so this is the most up-to-date information.
I guess I'm a little, and I know we touched on it, but I'm just a little conflicted about why did we spend all the time going through the chart without the infrastructure if it was obvious that we needed to include the infrastructure?
That was the sheriff's choice.
Yes.
Okay. I mean,
We
what
did ask.
was his thinking on that?
I don't know.
Okay.
We recommended
I
that
mean,
they
I'm
bring
okay with what
forward.
you're saying, but I'm just nervous
We
that we're-
recommended that the sheriff bring forward the proposal that had the infrastructure in it. He chose to have a conversation with you about a proposal
I know
without
we
the
wanted to
infrastructure.
focus on the sheriffs on the road, and that was.
This
I
has
mean,
got it in it now, doesn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
because we asked for
Right,
what
yeah.
it
So
looked
we're
like
good
with
to
the
go.
infra, because it needs,
The
you
caveat
can't
is,
do it without a building.
depends on November 7th. if
It,
whether this stays
it
or
totally
not.
does.
Yeah.
Either
So I'm good.
November 7th comes and he needs a building for all the new people he's gonna hire, or November 7th comes
And he
and none of this goes anywhere.
Jennifer's gonna double check, but I think the difference between the phase-in approach with the infrastructure and without the infrastructure is like 2 or 3 positions.
It's a few
That
positions.
it's not significant amount of positions.
Yeah, but this has got it in it. Let's just go for it, because it's,
Well, it's $1.7 million worth of positions, so that's what? 4?
No,
They're not
they,
spending-
overall, they spent a little less. I think that in the version without the infrastructure, they allowed the fund balance to grow more.
Right, I do believe so.
Okay, well, I feel like we're gonna be fixing it later. So
We will.
It's too speculative right now.
Because
2 weeks from now, we'll
Just tell
know.
us what we need to do now.
I'd
That's
recommend that
practical.
you say yes to this plan.
You approve this financial plan.
It's a reduction of 3 positions from the original.
That's what we have to do for now.
Okay, so.
Okay.
So then that brings us to page 12, line 51. Then I'm going to stop sharing.
Again, I don't see that we're there. Where's the money? I don't see the revenue side here.
Line 51?
Chief Deputy Coroner.
Yes, this is a chief deputy coroner.
I see it's coming out of the general fund, but I don't see any.
This is the one where he has, this is the accreditation one, that if he doesn't have this position, then we're gonna lose the accreditation and we're gonna lose some revenue, but
Well, the coroner also made a very impassioned argument that, he's doing a lot of things with no backup whatsoever.
No vacation.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So, that was part of his pitch on that one.
Well, I wish we had the money to do it, but I just don't see it right now.
I think this was on my must-do list.
Because because you were thinking accreditation
I
probably.
was thinking
But I
accreditation,
thought
at
you
which
penciled
point
it out.
I did this and,
Yes.
yeah, I definitely did this on the must-do.
And then but then you penciled it out and came
I
up
did.
with it's only a loss of 25,000 there.
That's,
So-
Put it
yeah.
on a maybe list to circle back to.
yeah, the chief deputy
We think we
coroner.
can squeeze the money out of the end of the road, but I'm with Commissioner Edwards for now, but I'm willing to kind of put it on a short list
All right.
of possible maybes.
And then 53 and 54 is a forensic autopsy tech. This is not required, for accreditation purposes,
It was built in the must.
but it was built in the must, but this one wasn't part of the accreditation.
That's correct.
So, not to say he doesn't need it, but it's gonna be a
So-
no for me right now.
So
This
we've
will
got
be a
about
no.
300,000 back in the kitty here, just from these few moments.
So I'm seeing a 3 thumbs down to the forensic autopsy tech.
For now.
Yeah.
Must or not, it's got, we ain't got it, you ain't got it.
Right.
Number 55, oh, sorry,
HR is asking for an
Can we
analyst.
hold on, because on my cheat sheet, the coroner also had a financial operations assistant. I don't see that, why is that not here?
We can look it up if maybe it was on the reclass or the reclass sheet.
We didn't cover it on the recall, since it was
Let's
buried in what we didn't address.
double check right now.
Just making sure we're covering everything.
So coroner, office assistant, 2, half a FTE to a 1 FTE.
Is that, it's,
Is that what you're speaking
Is
of?
that the 106,000?
Jennifer's cheat sheet, it says financial ops assistant, 106,000 first year, 101,000 second year.
Yep, that's what I
Does
see.
the cheat sheet have?
General fund,
And I had
no,
no on mine. It's
That
no
would
all the way
be
across, isn't it?
under-
No,
That should be under.
nope,
the
somebody had it as a medium.
Oh,
Did I
so,
put the wrong,
okay.
I might have,
Yeah, because you have priority 1, yeah, okay, see, I was wondering about that, why does the sheriff start with priority 2? Because it's just got the wrong label under department.
yeah.
Okay.
I just do that to see if you pay attention to what I
I'm
put
paying
on.
attention. Give me a gold star. Okay, never mind.
okay, 55.
55, so HR is asking for an analyst to help with recruitments. They're saying that they haven't had increases from, what is it, 2018? Recruitments have increased from 200 in 2018 to 416 recruitments in 2022.
I have a proposal for this. My proposal is, human resources, they need it. And with all the vacancies that we have and the issues with recruitment, I was thinking hiring a resource analyst, an HR resource analyst to help public health And so we can charge it to foundational public health?
Didn't they ask for that though? Does the public health already getting an HR person under their proposals?
I didn't see
They
one.
did not propose, HR,
Somebody did.
proposed
That was
a,
Robin at the Board of
someone within public health and social services, an administrative type staff person internal to the department. This proposal is to put someone, an HR analyst in HR that would assist them with, all of the hiring and, personnel actions that it's, and you heard, Member Vasquez speak to the consideration.
And then doing another one for public works. We heard Director Walker talk specifically about the struggle, like the engineer and try to get that one to their funds.
Well, air fund and SWAC fund.
Like it would
So if you
be,
put to public works, it would be allocated throughout the various funds.
So it would cover some.
Sure.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm okay with that and the proposal for public health on the other one. I'm just,
They want two positions. They want two positions. Is that gonna cover the two? They want a resources analyst and a resources specialist. I'm not doing that, but- Right there at the top.
I was like, where are they?
If it
does,
This is a higher level position.
my priority sheet is,
I'm a no on both of them, but if it's a new funding proposal, then maybe I could be yes, but.
Yeah.
Wasn't asked.
This is the only one. I was just saying this could help out HR and then also covering the needs for those bigger departments such as public works and public health, since they have several positions that they need help filling already.
Is it gonna punch out a public health employee that David needs?
We'd have to see if there's capacity there.
I don't care what you call them, as long as you don't hit the general fund.
Well, if you're gonna put this on the list, if you guys can look into that, I mean, I need to know that it's not gonna just knock out a more important public health employee.
Okay.
Because I really believe that one employee within public health that was dedicated toward this HR recruitment issue already by public health. Maybe we
They,
take that position away, put it here, because then it can sort of help read a little bit in the public health related pieces of what her would have to handle.
so we'll look into that. I've got this practice to.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
And what about the public works?
I'm good
For the
with
public works one.
that plan.
And again, which one you say is higher between analyst and specialist?
So I'm leaving honestly this up to, no,
Analyst is higher? I mean, if that's the way it's funded, maybe they could both be analysts or both be specialists. I don't know what's right. That's Maria to tell me.
that's kind of what I was
Well,
gonna say. I don't know
Leave
which
that up
one.
to the department directors.
Like, which one would fit better within her?
Well, yeah, if it's not coming out of the general fund, it's a difference of $20,000, $28,000, so it potentially could go either way depending on what her need is.
Right. Okay, so we'll return to both of these we'll have a conversation with Maria about which works best for her. And we'll check the public health piece and we'll check with Public Works to ensure that they could bear the cost in their funds. Which I'm relatively confident they could.
But I don't know if it's.
Pretty confident that Fund 1,500 for public health.
So then we're on page 9. So the risk analyst is gonna hit the risk fund, also in HR.
Did this, isn't there a risk? Oh, insurance risk.
Yeah, the risk
This came out of the,
No impact.
it would be allocated towards the
60.
40, yeah. And this in 25.
Yeah. Which means the split is not until 26.
Right,
The
the
actual
hit
hit
to
is-
the general fund doesn't begin until 26.
26.
Or actually, it wouldn't begin until 27 because it's a 2-year lag.
So it won't hit this biennium.
Edwards Lottery
I
Fund.
guess,
for
yeah,
me.
yeah, lottery, right.
As I see one thumbs down. And I see you're doing a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
On which one?
Risk analyst to be charged to the risk pool.
As long as it does not hit the general fund, I
It
support it.
would
Outside of the
hit the
biennium.
general fund in 2027
Oh,
on a
Well,
60-40 split.
I'm actually gonna support that, even though it hits a little bit of the general fund by 60-40 split in 27.
Okay, so I
No,
got
27 or
one,
26?
27.
It is
Because it's a
27?
2-year
Okay.
lag. If we
That's
start
gonna
paying
give us a
it out
little
in
time to
25,
recover.
it'll hit the general fund in 27.
This one I'm really split on because if
I
we've
didn't know
seen,
about the lag part. That's, I guess, makes me, I was a no, but
So you've seen the amount of work escalating regarding cases and litigation, and that's what this position would support.
I'll say yes.
So I've got 2
What do you say?
yeses, thoughtful.
I'm still at a
Okay,
not voting. It's fine.
and put 2 yeses and a maybe, and this one is ultimately a yes.
This is in public defense. They're asking for administrative service manager. The need here, it says management, administration and operation. It's the call for administrative service manager.
This is the position
So-
that's part of their reduction package.
Right, and Patrick came and streamlined their request. He reprioritized, so do we have that information from Patrick?
Is that the 140,000 for 24 and
So-
139 for 25?
So there was one position that Patrick put forward where they identified, Patrick and Public Defense was the only department, other than the Commissioner's office, that put up cuts to cover an ask. And what I don't remember is if this was the original ask that was covered by a reduction.
I'd have to look it up, give me one moment.
Based on the information that we were given when we were giving out these cheat sheets to follow, that Jennifer said we had to fill out. There's one commissioner is no, one is yes, and the blank one is me, which is a no.
I have the sheet.
Right, but let's take a look at.
From that explanation,
Right,
that's all. I
and
mean, if there's
we
changes,
have-
maybe there
We
is.
have new information.
We're gonna be doing Public Works next, so didn't Jennifer also send a reprioritization?
Was it the 256 they were?
Let me go check that
I'm
one.
looking for that right now.
If it's the reduction package, it's for 256,000.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and take a break while, Jennifer, the priority list from Patrick, and maybe let's go on this next and get, I know, Jennifer also sent one, so.
Sent additional information
so-
as well, yeah.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take a 10-minute break. Okay, we are back from break. It is 2:46 and pass it
Yes.
right back to Cole.
So before the break, we were on line 61, we were speaking about public defense, they're asking for administrative service manager. And so the administrative service manager is $140,000 impact to the general fund. However, public defense, at the beginning of the budget process, entered a reduction package. So for their policy level request, they also had an offsetting reduction package. Their reduction package is $256,000. So their priority for the general fund is this position at $140,000. And then, if I may, jump also to 63, which is their other priority, which is $112,000. This is within their reduction amount to the general fund, so they would be swapping.
Okay, so
So, for line 61, is that thumbs up?
61?
Yes, line 61.
I don't think so. I think,
Well,
general
We're
fund,
on
isn't it?
page 14.
It's from general fund.
they're doing,
Yes, but they've proposed a reduction to offset this
To offset it completely.
completely.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so
well then I'm good.
zero impact.
Okay.
Okay.
And then line 63 is also supported by the reduction package, and this is for a business administrative management applicant, is that correctly?
Swap from something else?
Yeah, so it's a total of $256,000 in their current base budget where they're saying they can reduce it. And so you've just approved $140,000 of that 256, remaining is 116, this position's only 112. So it would still be a swap, meaning I'm gonna take away these services or this position for $256,000, I have a savings, I'd like to have this position instead.
And they would have savings under the cut exercise above the amount
That is correct, and then
They
they
put
also
up
put in
to
their,
get to these.
they needed to get to a $7 million, their cut was $663,000, they also have packaged in there for that
So
amount.
that's separate from
This
this.
is separate from this.
Okay, well then that's fine with me.
Okay.
Commissioner
Commissioner
Edwards?
Edwards?
Yeah, I mean, if it don't take general fund, then okay.
Okay, so then we're at line 65, which is on page 16. And so this is their investigative services. They're asking for an FTE here. They're asking that this be paid out of the public safety sales tax if it were approved. And this is when they came back and spoke to us.
Badly needed. We can do it for public safety.
Okay, if it passes, right?
Right.
Yeah,
if it passes,
if not, then.
And then now we're at 67. Do not see that on that list for PST.
So then-
PST?
Public safety sales tax.
Oh.
They provided a list of requests that they would like to put on that.
It's the paralegal.
Is it the
It's the
paralegal?
second one on the list.
Okay, so yes, this also, they're asking for it to go through the public safety sales tax if approved.
How come it says general fund?
So when they originally put in the packet, they put it in as general
Yeah, it's for
fund.
general fund.
When they came back, I think it was Tuesday, to speak about what items they'd like to put into the public safety sales tax if it was approved, this is one of the items that they said they'd pull out of general fund.
Okay, so this is,
For that.
this is a what if we pass.
So, but out of the 25% that's related to justice
Right.
and 1.4 is going to the auditor's bond, do we know that all the requests that have been made don't add up to more than what's left?
So when you guys give me, if you wanna give me a tentative guess, then we can pull up the financial plan, once I have all of the requests that we're
Okay.
saying we might move into there, we can bring it up and take
Because I
another
never
holistic look.
remember saying, oh, this much to the prosecutor and this much to defense, and I don't know if they were given numbers or if they just dreamed up positions
Yeah,
with
who's
no
the
reference to
referee
how
on
much
that?
money they
Right.
had to spend.
We're going to have to look at their plan. Once you say, yes, we'd pay for this out of the PSD, if it passes, then we need to look at the whole package and see if there really is enough. We've not gotten to that step yet.
Okay, well, I mean, we
So-
can shortcut, I'll say yes to everything they all wanted, and then we can look at what we can afford.
Like,
I didn't hear anybody propose anything that offended my sensibilities
right.
about what they should be.
No fainting.
So those are the two items that Patrick proposed.
And then, he also said he'd like to have a legal assistant, which would be $100,000, which is not on this sheet, but he did speak to it. So we'll put all those on the paper, thumbs up. Yep. Okay.
And that's with public
safety
passes.
tax.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I'm gonna go into essential services here. This is to add a facilities, control specialist. This is inside of the essential services facilities fund. This is not general fund. We had Jason, I believe, come and speak to that. Jason and Bruce come and speak to the need for this facilities, specialist. That there is a high demand, I believe, in HVAC work.
Public Works, is that where you are?
Essential services, line 69.
Where's the money coming from?
This is the 60-40 split. It's the internal service. So the rates would begin for this item in 2025. We've added so many buildings and square footage. We need another FTE.
I believe they spoke to, there would be an offsetting reduction. They cannot tell you exactly what that is, but we're outsourcing a lot of work for HVAC work that they don't have the specialty to do. And so some of our services, they can't tell you the correct.
I remember that. I remember that, okay, thank you for bringing that up.
This is 60-40 split, you're saying?
Yes.
Yes.
But we're already paying for this service through different contracts, and this would basically
Right,
be.
and we can reduce those.
We can reduce those by.
So are you saying then it won't be a hit to the general fund?
There would
If you
be
can reduce them.
some hit to the general fund. I don't know how much because
So far, it looks like it's about $80,000 to the general.
And then efficiency in buildings,
75.
because it has to do with heating and ventilation. So they're saying also the efficiency in the buildings that this person will be able to provide to be on service, to be able to do that kind of work, that we would see savings there too. So we can't go and reduce a direct line for that type of savings
we should be able to though.
through analysis, possibly.
We should be able to reduce the line for professional services.
You can speak to Jenny and Bruce.
Yeah.
So
I'll go to maybe.
maybe,
We'll get back to the,
Why, I guess, yeah. Maybe not, I guess I'll say, because
or
that's
maybe
where I'm
not,
leaning.
that's right.
That's,
So now. we're
Figure out how much the offset would be.
So now we're getting into Public Works, and Public Works submitted some information for reprioritizing their request. And so the first request here is through the storm and surface water. This is not general fund. This would be on page 3 of this sheet that I just sent you.
What you just sent me.
Just print it for you, I'm sorry.
this new,
It's, so we asked them to reprioritize their request. The last time we met with them during their presentation, and they sent this sheet.
this one,
Yes.
Yeah.
So page 3, they have grouped their request by heading, so this is underneath stormwater, it's priority number 1. And it's for construction inspector.
and there's a budget to cover this.
Yes.
I think I already voted yes on all this stuff. If there was some other budget.
I voted yes on this one.
So,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, ready
all
for a vote, is that a?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
3 thumbs up.
great, so then we're on line 75.
72? Oh, no, okay, never mind.
Okay, wait a minute, you're on line, which one now?
Line
75.
75.
JT.
Okay, got it.
So I'm trying to line this up with the sheet that you were just given.
Now you've got 3 sheets on aligning. This, and
Priority
this.
2 on solid waste, page 3.
Thank you.
Priority
Page
2, solid waste, community litter cleanup supplies. No, that's not an FTE.
This is for,
E34-064.
Yeah.
It says supplies.
Well, there's supplies, but there's a building and grounds maintenance specialist as well.
You see the real money's on line 76. It'd be split between the solid waste fund and the road fund.
So I was trying to find it on the road funds page, but I don't see it on there.
Oh,
So
it's
they put
not.
this underneath.
It's under solid waste
It's
because
underneath
it's,
solid waste.
this is when they were talking about the tons of garbage that are on the side of the road.
And is this the one that we got the letter that talked about the amount of trash that was on the road?
For this one, those are categories.
Find that paper.
Cleanups program staff, 94,000. Is that what we're doing? No, program staff.
And it's their number
Yes.
one priority, did you say?
Yeah, I'm a yes on that one.
It's, no, it's, wait, it's two, it's,
It's number 2 under solid waste on the third page.
solid waste number 2. But there's, and there's no general fund money, right?
No general fund.
Yeah, so I'm okay with it.
All right,
Line 77, education and outreach specialist is on page 3. It's their first priority in solid waste. No general fund. 2 FTE.
That's 195,000?
Yes. 2 FTE.
And it's on page 3 too?
Yes. Underneath solid waste, it's their number 1 priority.
It's 2 people.
Okay, on that.
And there's plenty of money in that fund, we don't have to worry about that. All that kind of stuff.
Within the biennium, they showed us their financial plan and they're doing well. They said that they would come back to you in the outer years to make some adjustments to that plan, to that fund.
And the goal is to,
this is the solid waste fund. There is
Yeah,
money in
there's
this fund.
plenty of solid waste, and they're gonna encourage kids for recycling and go to the schools and save bottles and, right?
Yes.
Food waste.
Okay.
Okay, are we ready to vote? Can I get 3? Okay.
Go.
So the next one is on page 20, right, line 79, noxious weed program manager. That's also on page 3. That's their number 1 priority, well, noxious weeds. But they're also saying that even though this request before you doesn't show it, they could reduce $25,000 in extra help.
So it's gonna be $100,000 hit,
Yes,
and is there funds in there?
yes,
There's enough money in the weed fund.
yes,
And it's ongoing enough money?
yes, we can try and bring it.
Oh,
back
that's
into
fine,
plan.
if you're good with that.
Okay, you ready for a vote? Okay, a vote for doing the program manager here and also reducing the budget by $25,000 because of the extra help.
So just 100 will come out of the weed fund, because they're gonna save,
That
they're
will be the net
gonna
change.
save 25.
That is correct.
One, two.
Sorry to interrupt. Did we respond to Megan for King 5?
I have not yet.
Okay, they need that right away.
Okay.
So I'll do that while you continue.
Okay. All right, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, it's,
Was that 3?
That was at 2 or 3. I'm sorry, Commissioner Edwards. I did
Is that
not see.
about budget?
yes.
I think John Tunine was gonna get interviewed by them today.
Oh.
I think, about budget, I think.
Commissioner Edwards, I'm sorry, I didn't get your response. Noxious weed. Did you
Oh,
say yes?
I'm
Okay.
good.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay, the next one for the Public Works is for procurement and contract specialist out of the roads fund,
Which number?
81.
81, 56,000.
Yes. And I'm trying to find that one for you.
Can I just stop for a second? We probably went through this, but my memory's not good. I don't have my notes handy, but, I mean, the road fund, I know, is not the general fund. It has its own thing, but I mean, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, like 16 different funding requests coming out of road fund that are new above and beyond the base, right? And
Yes.
the road fund, we're proposing to shift more, 1 million. We were always talking about how the road fund probably wasn't where it should be. And now we've agreed to do at least another 1 million, and Commissioner Edwards may propose even more on that. So I'm just wondering, is this,
If there's money left in there.
yeah, I mean, are we,
So I can share the financial plan. So with these priorities, Public Works also sent over the roads fund, which you have in front of you, with the new changes and how that would impact the
Perfect.
fund.
that's what I wanted to see.
Yep. So,
Is
that
that
blue,
the 10, is that the new, with the 10-year plan?
yes. So if you go all the way down where it says ending fund balance, it's the light blue. That dark one tends to sometimes trip us up where it's a negative, but it's showing at the end of 2024 that there would be $15 million ending fund balance. And in 2025, there'd still be about a $15 million in fund balance.
2029, it goes way down.
And so that's also timing of projects. So they're booking the entire expense in which the project is supposed to start, but that will be pushed out as projects go along the timeline.
Do we have target for what that fund balance is supposed to be?
Yeah, so a 2-month fund balance, and that's $6.3 million.
Okay. So
So they're above ending fund balance.
why are we, if we're supposed to have 6.3 and we have 15 or 20 at the end of this year, why are we like wringing our hands, oh, we can only do 40 miles of chip seal this year, we can't do 50? That was, because that's coming out of REIT too.
Did we hear back from them on that,
Did we hear back on the order?
tar and stuff?
I have not gotten a response. They were hoping to get it to us today.
I know we go through this, and I apologize to my teammates if this isn't off point, but I haven't put my brain power to the road fund in a little while, and I just wanna, we're always talking about how we don't have enough money to do as much road maintenance as we should, and we were talking about a transportation benefit district tax and all these stuff. But here it's looking like we have $20 million, we only need 6, you said.
Right?
We've got 16 new positions being proposed.
This plan, if I may, also includes, it says the road levy shift, that the potential road levy shift, it's saying that it'll be about 4.75 in 2024 and 2025. So you see in that line, the 1.25 reduction and then a 1.5 in 2025. Also this.
Where is that line? Okay, oh, I see right here, potential.
Yep, and then 2 down, you'll see where it says reduce a transfer for the country club culvert project. So we got a loan, so they're asking not to pay the entire loan back, but to continue just to pay it off.
Okay.
The impact to the classic comp study, that's something that we would pull out at this time for 24 and 25.
And do you have can I go to the end of this and look at what the road fund impact, is that summarized here?
Right.
Sometimes you have at the end. Yeah, so road fund impact, if we just said yes to everything here,
Right,
looks like it's $1.1 million worth, 1.45 next year,
yes.
2025.
Right, so I would say approving what's in this packet along with the proposed small changes that they have here. Like, for instance, we just saw in noxious weed, they want to reduce another $25,000. If we go to page 1, where it says funds 1190 and 3010, so that's the roads fund. This is where we're talking about the country club project. And so this would be an additional request. So they're asking, yeah, I'm sorry, Commissioner.
No, go, sorry, you're explaining.
I was gonna say that in this here, that they're asking, Public Works is asking to use the Public Works loan instead of using road fund, so that we can have cash available.
What order are these going in this packet? right here?
They're just a numerical order as when when they put them in the system.
Okay.
So they're not a priority order.
Well, and I mean, it'd probably be more useful to use this, because at least this
Okay.
goes fund by fund. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just,
They
this
did
is
try
totally
to,
random.
they
My
tried to
brain is
group them by
jumping from-
fund. But
Okay.
when you're looking at some of these positions, they have multiple funds depending on what the program is that they're intending it for.
Well, I remember Jennifer's presentation, and there wasn't any positions that I thought, oh, that doesn't make sense, or whatever. So I mean,
Yeah.
now that I've seen the financial package, I guess I could say yes to the road fund package. I don't know if we want to go line by line, that's fine too.
I don't wanna go line by line, I think we just, but I
I'm good
don't,
with you guys, I
Yeah.
think. I mean, especially if there's money left to do that shift, and it looks like they're talking about on this for shift 4.7.
Somebody just needs to be muted.
Rob, are you?
Well, I just wanted to offer that I think these are really strategies to preserve road fund balance, because what this doesn't fully reflect are there are out year projects that are yet to be programmed. So you have to maintain a certain amount of capacity there to address those.
Capacity financial or capacity staffing?
Well, it's a bit of both, but because yes, it's both.
They're kind of mutually exclusive. The more we staff up, the less money we have in the thing, and those are the choices that we're being asked to make today.
For community centers, libraries, and
One second.
Yeah.
You can still vote absentee. What's fine if you ask for an.
And I guess, whether probably don't have a great answer to that other than we're really looking at being able to preserve capacity within the fund beyond the next biennium is the short of the long of it. I can follow up and get more information specifically about staffing versus capital projects.
I have a question about the pulled request, right? Well, the total here is 1.1 million. With these pulled requests that they have said, we're not gonna do them, what is the total impact then?
Don't have the total dollar amount. The pulled request, for instance, like the asset management system, there was a general fund impact, so they pulled that request or reallocated that out of the general fund. That is one of the reasons why they pulled that type of request or reallocated that request. This pulled request for the asset management professional service funding, they're looking to do that at a later time and just not right now based on what's going on in the funds. I could give you a dollar amount on what that was for the pulled request. When we look at the financial plan, it's taking into account those pulled requests. So if I was to just sum up the total cost in 2024, I could tell you that those are the maintenance level as well as the new request, and that's the total there.
Okay, well, thumbs up for me.
So we were on B34, line 6081,
I thought we were gonna do,
or are we doing the roads as a whole?
It's a lot easier for me to at least follow the funds.
Okay, so we can use this packet here. All right, so the roads fund as a whole is approved.
And that still leaves us some money to do that shift?
Yes, yes it does when we look at the financial plan. They've already factored in increasing it by $1 million. If there was more, there's capacity to do that.
Because 1.3 million we got out of the grant from the culvert.
That's right.
It's just as one example. Okay,
Okay, so that's the roads and transportation. The next little green line is 1190 and 3010. And that corresponds with the roads and transportation.
Where are we going to now?
So we're on this sheet here.
Got it.
it's just a different organization of the
Yep,
Right
so-
here, right?
So I'm gonna turn to page 2 then,
Okay.
and move to parks and trails, if you're okay with that.
Yep.
So the post plan, I do know has a general fund component, so I'd like to find that in our packet here to be able to speak to it.
Yeah, I can't.
It wouldn't be in our new FTE packet, because it wouldn't be a position. I would find the general fund impact for you.
What's the change, what's the change request number?
34,080.
Here it is. 30,000 and 70,000.
Yes, this is their only request that has a general fund impact.
2 no's on the sheet. This is where Commissioner Edwards and I were volunteering to write it. When we were trying to say, our other plan was so comprehensive and how much more gets updated. And I know there's stuff, planning's always time consuming and expensive.
I don't know the history of the post plan, but I do know that it's something that the county should at some point look into updating.
Any drain on the general fund?
Yes, this is a direct hit to the general fund. The amount,
How much?
100,000 for the biennium, 30 and 70.
yes. Sorry, where are we? We are talking about the post plan, so we are using this sheet here, and we're on page 2.
Thank you.
Some trails.
No, three no's. Commissioner Edwards?
And the dollar amount is where?
It's not listed on here. I could find it in your packet.
No,
if you'd
no,
like.
just rough.
It's 30,000 in the first year in 24 and 70,000 in 2025.
So 100,000 general fund.
I think we gotta get money from the lottery fund for this. Just
The perfect lottery. Fund item.
Okay. Three no's. The next one is a park and trail ground maintenance staff. And they're pulling that one, so,
Pulling both of these.
yep, they're pulling both of those, and then maintenance request, which is inside of our maintenance package, so I'm gonna move on to,
Assuming maintenance level.
gonna move on to water and sewer utilities. So utilities consolidation, you approved this already, it was in its own packet,
All right. Too long.
and I
This
believe
whole group?
Yeah.
this whole group, yeah,
Okay.
and then maintenance was already addressed. So I'm gonna turn the page. Stormwater priorities, you already approved priority 1. Priority 2 is pre-design studies, so the department spoke about their pre-design studies, and this was being able to look at potential projects down the road and being able to assess what should be done for those projects. They have pre-design money in their budget, but it was booked as a one-time. They're asking to put this in their baseline budget so they can continue to do that analysis for projects that come down the road. It is not general fund impacted.
It is not.
It is not, it is
I
stormwater.
see there's public health in there. On 4. Priority 4,
Priority 4,
under solid waste, is that where
under
you're?
solid waste.
So I'm sorry, Nicole,
We're
I
in
might have,
stormwater, yeah.
I might have gotten you off track because we were in the packet of new FTEs and it
Okay,
sounds like this is not just limited to
Not- no,
FTEs,
it
so
would be-
I didn't wanna,
so you wanna stay here?
well, I might have messed you up, I understand that, cause now we're gonna be between packets and that's gonna be confusing.
Okay,
So maybe we should just stick with the FTE packet.
okay, so,
I'm just pointing out that this is a mixture of FTE and non-FTE.
Oh.
You wanna stick with that?
Just like, let's just
Okay.
get these like done in
This
groups.
is better for me
Let's
too,
just
but
get it,
Then we'll be the, yeah.
so when we get to policy, we'll have to go back and say this was approved prior.
that's fine. It's just, let's just get it done and
Okay, so if we stay in the stormwater area on page 3, none of this is general fund impacted, those are their top 4 priorities. We did have the presentation from Public Works related to these. Is there anything in particular you want to discuss, or are we ready to vote?
I had a no on Abernathy Basin Study, so I don't remember what that was exactly.
I'm gonna pull it to. No, but that is fine. complete a study on Abernathy Street, stormwater engineering, observing increased development activity on Abernathy Street.
I don't know where that is.
It was a flood thing, I don't know where.
Right. It floods frequently.
Yes.
We're looking at trying to figure.
The root cause of the flooding issues.
This case would evaluate root cause of the localized flooding issue and the informed drainage municipal policy decisions
And how much is this?
for $200,000 in 2024.
It's a one-time funding.
Study with the increased flooding in the area. Supported by stormwater, the fund is healthy enough to support this. We say that the basin study will guide policy decisions related to developing and growth.
It's like,
I remember it.
yeah, I don't know where that is.
Right there, Abernathy, right there, 200. But that's not,
Stormwater fund.
It's out by, oh, it's north, it's later, maybe it's out towards,
It's basically see 5.
yeah. Out towards,
Leader.
our original deal, we got no. Yes. No.
So we got
You're
2 to
sticking
1.
with it?
I'm sticking with it.
Can you just,
I trust. If I can't figure it out, I'm gonna go with my information was when we were actually getting the more detailed presentation this week. I can't really know this area.
I don't remember that well. Yeah, it was not out of the general fund. That's why I did that.
Yeah.
But I can't remember any of the other particulars.
Particulars.
Do you remember which one of these items as we go through and back?
photographic memory.
I think, I was as a maybe on the retrofit and some pre-designs, so I was sort of like, okay, going with that, but this one was a more specific one. I didn't know anything about it. I was just trying to be more conservative with the
Yeah.
So it's a 2-1 yes.
Well,
Everyone's arm.
I'm trying to figure out why I did. And time can tell me why you didn't.
Good. I don't have a convincing argument.
I'm just trying to figure it all out. It's not a general fund. And I think there's adequate,
There is adequate money in the stormwater fund. Yes, there is.
and it was solving something. But
Yes.
I can remember what it was solving right
I don't even remember where it is.
Who's gonna find it first?
I think I was just looking at all the money we were spending on plans and studies and this, that, and the other, and I was just seeing this one as a lower priority than some of the other ones that were higher on the list.
Stormwater, is it stormwater utility? Yes. I
now.
have that
60?
4060, yes.
It's a lower priority of theirs. It was 4. Priority 4.
Yes, they only have 4 priorities, the last priority.
And that is still on the list and it's there now, right?
Is that a study we'd be contracting out to pay for?
Generally in public works, they do studies to determine the best path forward to resolve whatever the issue is.
Who would be watching
need
us
to
that we
do the
could ask them
study.
to give us a call? What's it, whatever.
So if this were a road, for example, they'll do a study at an intersection to see if the best resolution to safety is a roundabout or a traffic
Staff would do
light
that.
or they would contract to do that study, and then once they have a idea of what the best solution is, then they would bring you,
Karen's watching.
we need to do a roundabout here. So I don't know what in particular, what the options are they'd be studying for this basin. But in Public Works, they need to do a study to determine the best solution to whatever the issue is.
Karen says it's fundamental for us to develop future stormwater policies and best practices.
Oh, that's on item 3, but what is
Jennifer, are you
the
here?
specific one for Abernathy?
That's what she said about Abernathy.
I just upgraded Jennifer Walker, or.
Oh, you brought Jennifer onto the screen. We see her. Jennifer, welcome to the party.
Maybe she wasn't paying attention.
Pull Karen over. If Karen's in there, pull Karen over.
Can you hear me?
Yes?
You guys are a tough group, you know.
Can you walk us through the Abernathy study and kind of refresh, because I don't.
So here, Jennifer, one thing is like, I've never heard of this place. The commissioners, I can tell by discussion, they haven't been bugged by constituents about it. I've had 3 town halls with staff trying to navigate the Scott Lake neighborhood flooding issues and stuff. So for me to allocate, $250,000 to study something in an area I know nothing about versus an area in my district that I've continually been constantly working with citizens, I think that's maybe where a little bit of my reluctance to fund this was. So if you could
Understood.
why this is important to you.
Yes, so what we have in that area is high groundwater. We also have concerns with off-site runoff from development that's happening. And so the idea is to do groundwater modeling. That's a part of what this study would be. Because we have other areas in the county that have similar conditions. So we would use that to do a study here to help then inform us with our future planning and policy decisions. So it is a prime site that we have to be able to do ongoing ground modeling, find out where that the runoff that's happening. Again, there also is high groundwater. So when we talk about development, we have other areas in the county that we're dealing with that. But this would help inform future
Where's this
decisions
at,
on how to
Jennifer?
plan.
Jennifer, where's this at?
East of
It is.
Kinney,
It is over by Pleasant Glade.
Pleasant Glade, okay.
It's Abernathy Road Northeast. Pleasant Glade Elementary.
Okay, I know where
It's
that
just south of 26th Avenue Northeast.
26th has problems on high water, I know that. And the development they're talking about is development in the city of Olympia that's having an adverse effect. And so, but I don't remember enough of the particulars why I said yes on this, other than it did not affect the general fund, but
I think we were also talking about how there's areas like south where Tumwater development is having impact in South Tumwater.
yeah, on 93rd. that
Yeah,
stuff,
so like
yeah.
there's these areas that the commissioners were aware of, and here we're putting, maybe what you're saying, Jennifer, is that it's just a good place to do a study, and that information will be applicable to the areas that we're hearing more about. I don't know, but.
Correct, where we can actually, it will inform our decisions on future policy level changes and how development occurs as well.
But here, I don't think we had any ability to affect development because it was in the city of Olympia. Over by 26th, because I know there's 2 developments going in there. The trail gets flooded, 26th gets flooded.
Some of it is in the county though, in unincorporated.
like,
Um,
I know it is, it's right up against it.
what's the driver behind your elevating this to us? Is it your engineering staff or your stormwater team that said, that came up with this idea that this is a good thing to study?
Correct.
Okay.
The same people that then propose those policy level changes.
All right, well, I'll go with Public Works on it, I guess.
All right. Thank you,
Thank you,
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Thank you.
So then that closes
I
out
still would like
stormwater.
to know
So that's
why.
a 3-0 yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it, but there must have been a reason why I did that. Other than, doesn't affect the
It
general
doesn't
fund.
affect the general fund.
So we looked at the 4 priorities in stormwater and we got a thumbs up on those requests.
Yeah, I think so. We already did noxious
And we did
weed,
noxious weed already.
solid waste, we
Solid
did the
waste.
first few.
Yep, we did the first 2, so we're looking at priority 3 and 4. 3 again is the pre-design studies. Under the same understanding as the stormwater pre-design studies, that these are, this is funding to be able to do projects in the future, to figure out, looking at projects, seeing what needs to be done, and then creating a project from that. So yes, okay. And public health direct appropriation, I'll ask Jennifer to speak to that one.
This is shifting the appropriation from Public Works directly to Public Health, so they don't have to do an operation transfer. There's no change in the funding amount. It's just shifting which department it's in.
It's a net zero.
Okay, 3 thumbs up. All right, so then the last one is the divisional, which is priority 1. This is the asset management program specialist. When Public Works presented this at the first look, there was a general fund impact for the parks and trails. They're proposing to reallocate that at this point and charge only the utility funds and not parks and trails, so no general fund impact. To at least get this going, the asset management.
How much is this?
I can look up the direct dollar amount for you.
Remember, oh, here it is.
Good.
I said yes if no general fund.
The total cost is $353.
353,000?
They're asking, this is for FTEs, a total of 4 FTEs.
How's
4 FTEs.
It's paying out of all the utilities. It was originally proposed using general fund, but now it's using the utilities. So I see stormwater in here, 4060 is in here, 4040, so water, 4030, right? 1190, there's also roads in here.
General fund's out
The
completely?
general fund is out completely.
Okay.
And it's
4 FTEs.
4 FTEs?
Is that correct?
That's
I don't
what
remember
the change
studying.
request says. It is,
I'm looking right now.
Looks like a combination between asset management specialist twos and.
Where am I gonna find that on this sheet? Where you at there, Commissioner?
Right here, yeah, they wanna be able to track things like the sewer pipes and the,
It's the net.
Yeah.
It says shift to stormwater in 2024 and stormwater and roads in 2025.
That's
Yes, if
correct.
no
that's their
general
way to
fund,
not do general fund.
No general fund, and I was also a yes on that.
Yep. It's on, if you wanted to look in your packet, this packet we originally started with, it's on page 24, line 91. And there is a general fund component on this line, but they're proposing to take that out and reallocate it to the other funds. And there's other.
And is all that all in the up and up? I mean, if it,
it is.
Yes, so the FTE will not be working on anything general fund related. They will not be working on parks and trails, any asset management in that area. They'll be working on roads and transportation,
To
solid
get the
waste.
program going,
To get the program going. Right.
because it's gonna take a multi-year effort anyway.
does that give us some more money, on the general fund, like
No, it
300
really
or
doesn't,
something?
but,
It just allows this program to get started without it hitting the general funds.
yeah, but man, 4 FTEs.
Four
to
FTEs,
do
that's what
this?
I can't understand that. But I've got a headache, so.
It says I'm sorry. You want me to, okay, so it says 4 asset management specialist positions are requested to support the following. So it's saying that solid waste division will begin in 2025. And then you have roads and transportation, that will be for traffic and pavement preservation, and then water resources and storm and water. So the asset tracking of assets in different areas, so our roads for storm and water, and for solid waste. So they're having 4 FTE to be able to work on the different areas within the asset management program.
How come they would have asked for that out of general fund to start with?
Because of Parks and Trails. So
Right, it was friction.
they will,
Right.
to restructure this, they would not do any work on the Parks and Trails. That takes the general fund piece off.
Oh, okay, I got you, but still,
So
there's
they would still focus on all the other areas that the
full
department's
FTE
responsible
to,
for. I don't understand 4 FTEs, that seems like a lot, but,
like, water resources is about every catchment that we have in the whole county, trying to do some sort of
once you
cataloging.
count them, it shouldn't be that hard to
We talked
figure
about
out.
this.
And we've got separate funding
Why
for
don't we put this
studies
in the
and
maybe
plans.
pile and get a little more
Yeah.
Okay.
on
This
the
one
need
is
for
in the maybe
4?
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Rob, I think.
So no, it's just to put in a couple of cents, you know, we do have hundreds of millions of dollars in assets across all the various divisions, you know, whether it's solid waste, roads, stormwaters, utilities. It's extremely important to be able to have a good systems in place to categorize everything that we have, as well as then having that go into the preventative maintenance, as well as identifying those areas that ultimately become part of our capital improvement program overall. So it's making sure that we are investing on the front end so that we can actually help control costs in the long term.
Right.
But I still think we're gonna get a review on this, right? Did we just put this in the,
You put
Maybe.
this in the maybe column.
yeah, and get a little more, okay, thanks, Rob.
One of the, I'm gonna throw in one more, I'm gonna pile on my argument about doing this by department is doing it the way we have been doing it. Every single department has to sit here on pins and needles for an entire week because we're capturing one of their requests here and one there. Versus we just cut Jennifer Walker loose for the next 2 days and think of all the capacity that we'd be creating with our managers and staff to not have to listen to every minute of everything.
So we have in the past,
Yeah,
we've bucketed them, not quite so split out as they are here, but we have split them out in the past.
policy.
Policy, yep, totally removed policy, but we also bucketed certain areas where we saw a ton of things coming in countywide, so you could get a impact, like, there was a year when we bundled together all the technology items, when we saw almost every office and department asking for software. This year, what we saw a lot of were FTEs. So we bundled the FTEs, so you could consider, do you really wanna add 140 FTEs to the county workforce? And we separated that out from the policy. When we had things discrete by department, which works great for what you're saying, then I was asked to pull out the things that we saw a lot of and bundle those so you could get the full impact. So
I
we're
remember that.
trying to meet your needs and we appreciate your input and we'll package it different, but we're trying to guess what's gonna be best. So we appreciate that this is not working great.
We can make some adjustments going.
It's too late to change now.
It's really late in the game to change it.
No, I'm
but,
not, I'm
you
just,
know,
I'm
yeah.
just throwing it out there because it's every
Yep,
time the learning
thank you for the
experience.
feedback.
Just, you know, if I were the director of public works and I would have we would have dealt with, what we
Right.
just dealt with in an hour, we would have been in bits and pieces over the next 3 days.
That's
Which has been a
absolutely
complete waste of
true.
her time
Um,
and her,
there's also, while I am super happy that people are paying attention to the budget and the process, They do not need to sit on the Zoom and watch every minute. Because in the past, before we were doing Zoom, they just knew they needed to be available if we needed to call them. And that is the extent of the impact on their time.
It's a new world, Robin. We'll never be able to do that.
It is. If they choose to spend all their time watching the budget deliberations, love the attention on budget.
Okay.
Okay, 2, 3, and 4
2, 3, 4.
for the cross division.
Shoot.
No, we didn't.
No, you're right. I didn't see those.
So pavement preservation program, senior engineer. It's across multiple funds or divisions, it's saying. It is not a general fund impact.
Or 2, 3, and 4, or any of them
None
general
of them are
fund.
general fund impact.
So I'm just gonna say yes to them.
Cross-divisional.
If there's any questions
So,
on any of those.
What's the dollar amount here? Is this the 4 positions we just hired?
No,
Is this 4 new positions?
This is,
this is a senior.
3 more on top of the 4.
So this would be,
145,000 for the engineer,
Yes.
104,000 for the contract specialist, and 90,000 for the admin assistant records management. That's another 350,000. I was a maybe, and no on those. But
so did you just say, I'm sorry, I was distracted when you were looking at page 1. Did you just say yes to everything on page 1?
On page
Oh,
one.
that was all the, for roads and transportation.
Yes,
Roads. But that added, an accountant and an admin assistant. And maybe they could, take those positions and have them be a little more broad instead of focusing on roads and not need this additional admin assistant. I would say that they totally need the procurement and contract specialist. Because, again, here you have the department that operates the contracts. Just massive number of contracts, and public works contracts are a specialized field that come with very specific requirements in state and federal law. So I would agree that they need the contract specialist, but perhaps, yeah,
program
you've already-
engineer.
I'm sorry, what?
What about the engineer? Do you have thoughts on that?
The engineer, pavement preservation, I don't know why that isn't a cross-divisional, category and not,
they have the funding billed to different projects. They have it billed to the Water Capital Projects Fund, Sewer Capital Projects Fund. So it looks like this, it's just in the cross-divisional because it's hitting different funds depending on.
Because of the right of way, I remember it was like,
Which is the number on this one, Trevor?
B 34091.
But what line number is that?
Page 30, line 108.
Okay, because this will give us a better
you say
description.
line 108?
Yeah, let's see, where does it start?
This will tell us
On
why
page
they
30.
need
It actually starts, there's so many lines, right? So it's starting on page 29, line 107. And because it's hitting multiple funds, there's many
I'm
lines.
sure that's the same engineer, because this one talks about,
Yes.
because this says construction, oh, this says construction inspector.
yes, it does.
We're talking about a pavement civil engineer.
It says B 34091. That's the same change request number. It looks as though the title.
So if you read the description, it talks about a civil engineer.
It's the difference between the classification title and the working title.
Okay, we did stormwater construction inspector, okay.
Yes, in parentheses, it says senior civil engineer.
As we're increasing FTEs, or even though it's not general fund, I mean, we're really running our baseline budget up on non-general fund.
Yeah.
Bunch.
That's what I was talking
lot.
about. That's when I brought the roads issue to attention because
Right.
there's a ton of FTEs that's gonna be embedded now. And I know we need a lot of help with engineering department, so I'm kind of thinking this one's probably good, but not with Robin on the admin piece.
So, and the admin position was for public records requests, the increase in public records requests that they've been receiving.
So again, maybe they take the one that the board authorized that was specifically for roads and split the time.
Why are people requesting roads records?
Yeah, I'm curious about the public records request for roads. I wasn't aware that was an issue.
It's for all public works projects.
Yeah, but I didn't think we had any complaints like that.
In 2022, they received 179 public records requests
Yes,
in public works.
and then the administrative two position that Robin's referring to that's in roads, that is, the working title will be training coordinator. Oversee and manage
I
training programs.
appreciate that they want something specific. I am suggesting they get one admin assistant and split it.
To do records and training.
Sounds good to me compared to what attorney
I mean,
is, which is too many.
The board just said no to so many positions in offices and departments. And yes to almost an equal number of positions in public works. I would suggest that they could take on
Figure it
a
out.
little work or figure something out with not every one of these.
Okay, so for number 2, that was a yes
Yes, for me.
for
on
the
two.
engineer. And then the contract specialist,
How many contract specialists do they already have in public works?
Oh, that's gonna take me a second to find out. Unless Karen heard that question.
There's currently one in Public Works, contract management specialist.
They really do need the contract specialist.
Okay,
and then.
And just to, some of the confusion about construction, as well as the pavement preservation, there's kind of a working title. In this position would specifically be looking to support pavement preservation programs in addition to supporting other construction projects.
Okay. Perfect, thank you. And then for, so I saw 3 guesses for the procurement and contract.
Yes,
Yeah.
And then the admin assistant 1? No,
what's that?
the admin assistant?
I thought we already had.
I'm recommending
You're splitting,
no,
you're splitting. Or
to,
two.
Yeah.
to say yes to one in their request
Right.
and no to a second one.
Okay, so that will conclude Public Works. So now moving on to item 113.
Yes, on page 30. So community planning is asking for an assistant, associate planners, assistant and associate planners. They're asking to have additional staff to speed up existing docket amendments.
This is straight out of the general fund.
This is straight out of the general fund.
I'm pretty sure I said no on this because it was coming out of the general fund.
no,
This is a no. I see 2 no's, Commissioner Mejia, that's a no.
I was just trying to find a few.
15. Yeah, we were no.
So line 115 is for pretrial services. It's an admin assistant with a general fund and TST split. The general fund portion is 70,000.
Which line are you on again?
Line 115 on page 31.
What's the next page?
Can this be covered by any other fund?
It's treatment, so they've already split it between general fund and treatment sales tax. And there are no other funds that fund pretrial services. It's
And
connected,
they currently do not have any admin support.
none,
That's kind of
right?
why I was wondering if there was an additional fund, because it's, I mean,
There's a real need. I think that this is the only office or department that doesn't have at least some administrative support. The coroner's office has half an admin FTE, not a full-time FTE. But pretrial services has none.
Did we save enough in a couple of these other moves that we made that I've lost track of? It seems like we saved some
I
general
think
fund.
so. So tomorrow I will have the model working. We can see what the impact is and where we're at.
this is a May, can we put this in the maybe
Yes.
stack and see kind of how we line up and?
Yeah, we can return
unless
to this
there's
one.
Opposition to it.
I'm not opposed to it, it's just, it's about a timing issue. I mean, this has been true. This would have been true last year, would have been true the year before.
Mary Ann was asking for it
We have
beforehand.
no money.
Mary, I know, I've heard about this position for, I heard it from Mary Ann very strongly about how much this was needed. But she was under a governing board structure, so the request that she could bring forward was a little bit different because she didn't have that, flexibility, that a director has. But I know that she spoke to me about this when I first came in and about how much they needed admin support. And so I know, I understand why this is now in front of us.
How much is TST?
The TST portion, it appears to be about 1/3 of the cost.
Let's stretch that out a little more.
They did it, I think they made this based on the FTEs that the admin would
Yeah.
be supporting.
There's
So-
a cost allocation issue.
It can be, one can sit closer to the assistant or something like that. I don't know, get some benefit. Gee, many Christmas.
So I've tagged this to come back to.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so line 118 is for pretrial services, Officer 1. This is a general fund impact of $115,000. This is for pretrial screening and supervision of workloads.
This is a no for me.
Are we ready to vote?
No.
No, okay. Line 120, so this is, we're getting into public health. At one point, you had asked us to come back with the org chart. We can do that, or we can go line by line here with public health's request for new FTE, which is further disease and
It would
control.
hurt my feelings if we quit early, to be honest with you.
This request is asking for a total of 9 permanent FTEs inside of the disease control and prevention division. Using public health.
Thought we said we were pretty much in favor of David's presentation, because there was,
Could we get something like this from David? I mean, this is helpful and we can address it tomorrow. Is that okay? With commissioners? That way we are like, I know it's not gonna be different funds, but it's gonna be maybe instead of Rosenham, it's gonna say disease prevention and control and the different positions and their priorities.
Okay.
And then we can handle all of that at once.
Yeah, we can work through that.
Can you send me that email? Karen's, because I don't have that.
Okay, so.
I'll ask Karen to do it.
That was line 19. We have public health the rest of the way here, so we'll just come back with those. Yes.
I'm just thinking that the org charts that David did pretty much does that.
Okay. So are we pulling out the org charts then?
I think that might be an easy way to look at
It is a pretty good graphic that he presented.
It's an excellent graphic and
It
it
is.
shows exactly what the positions are.
But
The only
not
thing
really.
it doesn't do is put them in priority order.
Well, not, it doesn't really list because I know for the disease and prevent control, like there were like all these different education outreach, and I remember there was confusion for that, and I
Okay,
don't remember specifically now what each of them are. I just remember that David kind of broke it down for us, so,
It was like, I was asking why there were so many education and outreach, and he was explaining something about, it was just what they were,
the classification.
That was the title, it
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily what they were
wasn't
doing.
Right.
reflecting what they
Yeah.
were doing, I don't, yeah. There was an explanation that I was satisfied with, I don't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, cause it's education 1, 2, 3, so,
We're in here again tomorrow, right?
yeah.
we are.
9:45, right?
Yeah.
No getting out of it.
Alright. I'm trying to think, just putting the titles here, if what they put in here is education and outreach, that's not gonna help.
Well, no, like, I mean, he broke it down when he was in and he said exactly what the positions were, so he knows what the positions are, so I don't know why.
He could do working titles.
Yeah, just something,
Why don't we just have him here,
yeah,
Let's see if he,
and then we just
Yeah.
fire a few questions and get it done, like we did with Jennifer.
yeah.
yep,
All right,
Good.
we can do that.
I don't know if it's fair to our employees to burn our brains out towards the end of the day where we can't keep track. I shouldn't say that because it makes me sound stupid, but maybe I am.
So that brings us to the end of the packet.
that is the end of the FTEs.
Yes.
So then what are we missing besides public health FTE?
There's a whole packet called policy level, that's many, many, many pages,
Yes,
That are not FTEs.
so
right.
it's not like we're anywhere close to the end.
So it's almost 4, we're supposed to get out at 4:15. Do we want to jump into the policy level packet or?
Time does the RHC
It
start?
starts at 4.
So this might be a very good place to wrap up for today.
Okay,
You're not gonna get an argument from me.
okay, so we'll wrap up for today and we'll pick up with public health and then we'll move on to policy level. And then also what's on the calendar for tomorrow?
Tomorrow
It's all
is,
day.
tomorrow
Sound
morning,
too excited.
Right?
What's on the calendar?
amendment
you mean
4,
specific.
final deliberations. And then we're gonna have Bruce come in and talk about pool car rates. We'll have also Rick Thompson from Central Services come in and talk about the jail camera project. Sherry will come in and talk about IT budget request. And then we'll do some more review.
Jail cameras, that's a Costco purchase.
So the reason why we
That
have,
is, yes, that's why Rick's coming, is just to address your concerns about the price of cameras at the jail.
right,
And to tell you why it can't be Ring cameras.
Can't be Costco.
Yeah.
so
It'd
that's
be so
Thursday.
much cheaper.
It's got a heavy lift, so.
He does.
Okay, sounds good then. Okay, so we're starting tomorrow at 9:45.
Yes.
Okay, it's 3:55. We're adjourned for the day. Thank you.
Is that the 900,000?